Hello everyone, and welcome to the epicenter of Hope Distribution Studios, or as I refer to it, Hope Distribution Studios! You are tuned in to the HDS podcast, and this is the Power 1-5, the most powerful 15 minutes you will experience today, unless, of course, you have a one-on-one encounter with the living God, in which case it's the second most powerful. I'm your host, Bert Starzer, and my hope is that wherever you are, that life is treating you incredibly well. For those of you tuning in for the very first time, please feel free to check out my previous episodes so you can get a taste of who I am and a flavor of what you have in store when you tune in to the HDS podcast. And let me just add, if the flavor you taste isn't Chipotle, you might want to get your taste buds checked. But that's my bad joke of the day. So I was reminded recently that I have yet to share my revelation to that all-encompassing question that we all ask at some point in time in our lives: why are we here? First off, I'm very glad my wonderful listener reminded me, so a huge thank you and shout out to my wonderful Uncle Hans. And as I shared with him, just be patient with me. I promise I will share my revelation, but we need to venture down this path just a little bit longer. Today is episode 4, and it is titled The Faith of an Atheist. Now for this topic that I've actually blogged about, I had to really think and pray how to approach it. I'm not going to take this time to pretend that I'm into apologetics, because I'm not. So for this topic, I'd like to share a news story I read a few weeks ago. I'm not sure of the date, but recently a deaf pastor announced he was converting to atheism. His reasons for becoming an atheist were the person he was learning from when he began into the Christian ministry was very mean to him, very overbearing, and my assumption had very little compassion. He also stated that he didn't see the love of God being expressed through the lives of people who called themselves Christians. He saw no difference between Christians and non-Christians. He also wondered, how could a loving God cast people into hell? Well, for this broadcast, I'm not even going to touch the last topic. But I'd like to say that I really wish I could meet this man. Because more than anything, I want to give him a hug. Look, some of you listening right now have converted to atheism for the exact same reasons as this ex-pastor. To all of you who've been hurt as he has, I just want to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry you've been hurt. I hate to hear of anyone who has had their spirit broken or heart hurt or dreams crushed, especially by someone who professes to follow Jesus. It truly breaks my heart, and I'm sorry. But the truth is, people are not God. God is spirit. God is love. He offers compassion, and his only desire is for your life to be rich and full of hope, joy, peace, and love. We, on the other hand, are pretty much all about ourselves. If you listen to my earlier episodes, I briefly explain and discuss choice and freedom as they relate to our personalities and God's personality. But deciding to believe there is no God because you don't see love and compassion in others, in my opinion, is a bit judgmental. Look, none of us are perfect, and when we screw up doing something or we hurt someone, I believe that's a phrase we love to revisit. I'm not perfect, don't blame me. Yet, most of the time, we want to believe we are perfect. The truth is, we're not. I'd like to share a quick story with you. About a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to my oldest niece who is embarking on purchasing her very first home. I offered to help her, even though she lives in another state, but we have the World Wide Web, so I can get on there, get listings, copy them, send them to her, and share them. Well, 3 nights ago, I was awakened at 4 a.m. Not by anything else but my conscience. I remembered I had not kept my word to her. I let her down. Well, I got up at 4 a.m. and I texted her and asking her for forgiveness, which I'm very thankful she has since given me. And I've also begun helping her. Now, some of you might think, well, that's no big deal, but believe me, it is. Number one, I'm a follower of Jesus. I believe in living my life with compassion and love for others and helping others. I especially have a lot of love for my nieces who mean the world to me. So if you're listening, I love you girls. Plus, I know what it's like to be let down and hurt. I had an uncle, he's since passed, but he was probably the closest thing to a grown-up idol I had as a kid. He was very cool. He was the youngest of my uncles, and when I visited my grandmother, he'd come by and do things with me. Well, there were also plenty of times he promised me that we'd do something together, and yet we never did. Either he forgot or he had other obligations. But let me tell you, to a young teenager or even a young adult, when someone lets you down that you look up to, it's devastating. I forgave him for all those times a long, long time ago because really it's not worth it, and I love him. I love him with all my heart. The awesome thing is I know he's with Jesus now, and one day, hopefully way, way, way down the road, we'll get to make up for those lost times. I've also been hurt by fellow Christians. Let down verbally, verbally hurt, even abandoned during my darkest hours. But people aren't God. Even if I had reached out to anyone or their words were more comforting than condemning, it doesn't matter. Only God can comfort and heal a broken spirit. Only God can comfort and heal a troubled soul. Look, friends are wonderful to have, especially those we can share our hard times with. But when we're faced with one of life's obstacles, such as sickness or worse, cancer, we have to undergo all the treatments by ourselves, such as my mom had to endure a few years back. And even though we have support groups, it soon becomes painfully clear it's just us versus whatever we're going through. But we aren't alone. We're never alone, because God is here waiting for us to reach out to Him. My mom shared with me after she got her diagnosis that she had cancer, and after she had time to pray, that Jesus was going to see her through. She had faith. She told me she didn't know what she would have done without Jesus constantly helping her. You're never alone. You're alone if you choose to be, but even then, all it takes is one prayer, and the God of all creation will begin filling your heart, your spirit, and your life with joy, peace, and love as only He can. We're not God. We want to be our own gods, but the end result is not the same. It never is. You know, when thinking about the ex-pastor, after giving him a hug, I'd probably ask him why he decided to concentrate more on the actions of others and less on his own. My point being, Jesus said, why are you trying to remove the speck from your brother's eye when you have a plank in your own eye? The translation being, why judge the motives, actions, and lives of others when you really should be concentrating on your own motives, action, and life? If you're living a life that is expressing love and compassion to others because of, as followers of Jesus, we're to love God with all our hearts and humanity as ourselves, that's friends and enemies, then we'll reap love, compassion in return. And when we don't, we're called to pray, to have compassion anyway, to love regardless. Besides, if we're blind by our own faults, then how can we even begin to help others? It all starts with us, individually, our individual choices. So how does all this relate to faith, to the faith of atheists? The definition of faith, provided by Merriam-Webster's, is a firm belief in something for which there is no proof. Believe it or not, everyone has faith. It is one aspect of our beings that I believe is genetically related to God's being. He created us in His image, and faith is one aspect of that. When someone gets sick and they're asked how they're doing, usually their response is, my response would be sometimes, I feel like crap, but I'll get better. Yet there's no proof. I feel like crap, I'm achy, I want to crawl in a hole somewhere, yet I believe I'm going to get better. Some would say, well, you got better in the past, so that's proof. No. Every instance is singular and stands alone. There are plenty of people who believed they were going to get better and didn't. My late uncle, he had a sinus infection. I'm pretty sure he suffered from those in the past. I'm sure there was plenty of evidence to support he was going to get better. Yet every instance is singular. In his case, he passed on. But before passing on, he had faith, not just in God, but faith he was going to get better. Look, there have been so many arguments between creationists and evolutionists. It's easy for both sides to sit back and say, oh, you need proof? You need proof that a single-cell organism suddenly, without any outside interference, boom, began to transform and evolve? Well, look no further than our existence. Or, you need proof God created everything? Look no further than our existence. The fact is, no one has proof. Because no one was there in the very beginning to witness, calculate, measure, and document just how everything transpired. It's all based on faith. My point, you have faith in what you believe because you choose to have faith in what you believe. It's your choice. Regardless of what you deem as evidence, it's your choice. My only question for the atheists in my listening audience, do you believe in freedom? Freedom for everyone. Free speech, free expression, freedom to just live your life. You see, I do. But what I don't understand and what hurts me is if you are a proponent of freedom, why would any of you want to try to silence me or take away my right to be able to just say God or pray in public? Remember when I mentioned earlier about love, loving your neighbor, which is humanity, friends, and enemies? I'm wondering right now if any of you would care to put your money where your mouth is. If you're an atheist in my listening audience right now and want to prove that you love others different from yourself and you believe in freedom for all people, even if their beliefs and opinions don't match your own, then I have a challenge for you. I'm a follower of Jesus. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I'm also an author, and I'm raising funds for my second book, which is based off my late Beagle Hershey. The book carries themes of friendship, love, hope, and confronts the topic of bullying. Nowhere in the story do I mention God or Jesus. If you believe you truly love others, even those with opposing viewpoints, I challenge you right now to prove it. Give me proof. There's only about 20 days left in my campaign, so you need to act fast. Just go to my info on Spreaker.com, and under website, there's a link. Follow that link and make your contribution. If you're an atheist or agnostic, email me, letting me know, and beside your name, in parentheses, I will put Loving Atheist when my book comes out. You see, as a follower of Jesus and believer in true freedom, I'm not afraid to share with others that a loving atheist supported my book. I also know, by faith, that even if you don't support me, the book's going to happen. But I choose to believe that, knowing I serve a very loving, caring, and exceptional God who loves all of us and wants nothing but our best. Look, I hope in all of this, none of it comes across as prideful or arrogant, because I have nothing to be prideful or arrogant of. I'm just a guy doing my best to follow after my Lord and God. I make more than my fair share of screw-ups on a daily basis. However, I've stopped blaming others for my failures. Yep, you see, the ex-pastor and I have a few things in common, actually. We've both been hurt. We've both wrongly judged others, but when he chose to look for the love of God in others and question God's existence because of the actions of others, I chose to look at myself and how I was acting toward others. And instead of walking away, I chose to fall on my face, beg for forgiveness, and then I got up a changed man. And I chose to allow God to heal me, help me, and I choose on a daily basis to allow Him to change me and love others through me. It starts and ends with us, our choices. So if you need proof, well, then prove it to me. I'm waiting. Okay, everyone, that's going to be it. For the next episode, I want to share a very personal story and possibly the reason I do believe in God, and it has something to do with my very first canine friend. So if you're a dog lover, you're going to definitely want to tune in. Thank you very much for tuning in. This has been Hope Distribution Studios, or Hope Distribution Studios to the rest of you. I'm Bert Stars, reminding you to remember hope and perseverance are the keys to making your dreams come true, and love is the foundation of everything. Till next time, take care, be well, and God bless.